Welcome back. So tonight we're looking at the recent crisis around the Brexit talks, or the latest crisis. The United Kingdom left the European Union, you'll recall, at the end of January this year, and now it's in an 11-month transition period. During this period, the UK effectively remains in the EU custom union. But the big question is what happens on January the 1st next year? If a trade deal is ratified, then the UK will begin a new relationship with the EU. Otherwise, it leaves with a no deal. And that likely means it'll have to pay tariffs on exports to the EU, which will make it harder for UK companies to compete. But those talks are currently stuck, and the pound has been battered on new fears of a disorderly exit after the British government started to look at planned legislation to override parts of the agreement it already signed in January. So it's a little bit complicated if you haven't been following. Let's get the lowdown now. We're joined by Professor Gerhard Erasmus, who is an associate at the Trade Law Centre, or tralac. Professor, thank you for being with us. So the negotiations have taken a turn for the worse. Some would say they've become vicious. Why does a Brexit deal still seem so far off?
Well, you've summarized it correctly. It was a difficult process, and eventually the withdrawal agreement, which was difficult to conclude in any case, that was adopted in the beginning of this year. And everything was on course to use the transitional period till the end of this year to conclude a second agreement about future preferential trade between the UK and the EU. And it is the UK's biggest trading partner. Now, as you've correctly pointed out, there's a last-minute hitch in this development, because the government of Prime Minister Boris Johnson wants to isolate a certain important element in this agreement about the Northern Ireland Protocol, and to make it possible for the British government in future not to apply that. And that doesn't go down well in Brussels at all, and it has the potential to derail the process of exit.
Yeah. Well, former leaders have even accused Boris Johnson of shaming the UK with this bill. The EU says it breaks international law. Just explain what the UK is trying to achieve with that bill, the internal market bill.
The technical arrangement was that Northern Ireland had to stay within the EU system of trade regulation in order to protect the integrity of the EU. The Irish Republic is part of the EU, and there's this very important sensitivity about the border and the Good Friday deal. So the withdrawal agreement was structured on an assumption that in Ireland itself, matters would be governed, trade matters would be governed by EU rules and procedures. And then they started, that is why there is this reference to a border in the Irish Sea, so that goods that would then be exported from Northern Ireland to the UK would, somewhere in the Irish Sea, so to speak, meet with the rules and procedures and the tariffs that form part of the agreement that will kick in the beginning of next year. And that implication, that effect, the new internal trade bill of the UK wants to carve out and to say, no, it will not be applied. It could be suspended by new rules and regulations that can be adopted by a sovereign parliament in the UK. And as you correctly pointed out, even the top legal advisor of the UK government resigned over that.
So the UK is trying to say, look, if we don't like the plan and we want to prevent any sort of border between the south and the north, we'll just make a decision. It doesn't matter what our agreement is with the EU. So they're calling that a safety net. Is that reducing the chances of a deal now because the EU is angry?
Yeah, it is not. The effect will be that between Ireland as a whole, the island of Ireland and the UK, there will be a border in the Irish Sea, so that there can be frictionless trade between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. That is the integrity part of the EU argument. And indeed, the implication is if this important, this vital aspect of a future relationship between the UK on the one hand and the EU on the other hand wouldn't be such that the whole EU territory, the whole EU space, including the Republic of Ireland, will be fully protected, then that is reneging on an essential aspect of the future agreement and the withdrawal agreement.
The fact is, it's all about Northern Ireland, and there's never been a creative solution around this problem that very few people want a border between the North and the South. Do you think it can ever be solved?
Well, the Good Friday Agreement, which I think was concluded in 1998, was a massive breakthrough in that time. It ended the 30 years of troubles, as that war was referred to. So the Good Friday Agreement is a vital part of the understanding, and there's some external trading partners, like even the United States, are now pointing out they will not support a new deal or a non-deal that will undermine the peace accord, the Good Friday Agreement. And may I just add, there is this provision in the Good Friday Agreement that we're not hearing much about nowadays, but there is, in principle, the possibility that if the people of all of Ireland decide, Northern Ireland decide one day in future that they want to join the Republic, they could do so. So to summarize, peace in Ireland is very much at hand here. That's the one concern. The other concern is the integrity of the EU. And the third concern mentioned by Mr. Boris Johnson is that he doesn't want to carve up the territory of the United Kingdom by putting this border in the Irish Sea.
So this is so difficult. So finally, do you believe there will be a breakthrough? Will there be a deal by the end of the year? And what implications, if any, for South Africa?
I really hope there will be a breakthrough. I hope there will be a deal. You've pointed out in the beginning that if in the beginning of next year there is no final trade deal, then the UK and the EU will have to trade in both goods and services under the higher tariffs and far more difficult rules and procedures of the WTO, and then all the trade in goods, services, and the professional recognition of professional qualifications will be discontinued. So that will be a major disruption. If will it have a direct implication for us here in South Africa and in the Southern African Customs Union? The UK became party to more than 40 trade agreements while it was still part of the EU. And it rolled over many of those, something like 19 in the last year or two. And the trade agreement between the EU and us was one of those that had been rolled over. And that would have made life for us and for our important exports to the UK a lot easier. What we don't know now is what exactly will happen if 1st of January arrives and there are no rolled over deals, not only with us, but with many other countries. And all of us suddenly will have to start trading under a new regime. The logic of the rolling over of the trade deal means that we will not or should not be affected by the higher tariffs and taxes of trade under the WTO rules. But it is not so clear that the paperwork qualifications or the paperwork part of it, the logistics, what we call the rules of origin part, will be easygoing again. There will have to be a new arrangement of some sort. And let me just point out that the logistics comes into play. And many of our goods are exported through Rotterdam, and then they go from there to the rest of the EU, and they went to the UK as part of the EU. And whether that will
Yeah. Professor, we have to leave it there, but thank you, and I hope we can chat again. I suspect that we'll be talking about Brexit, the withdrawal agreement, for many months to come, creating a little bit of uncertainty for us there. That was Professor Gerhard Erasmus, who is an associate at the Trade Law Centre, or tralac.